When fans watch a heavy collision at the rim, they assume the referee blows the whistle based on the sheer kinetic energy of the hit. Under the 2026 FIBA basketball rules, fouls are not judged by how aggressive the contact feels. They are adjudicated as a precise mathematical calculation of three-dimensional spatial rights. The foundation of this system is the principle of verticality. Under Article 33.2, every player inherently owns the three-dimensional space they occupy on the court, from the floor straight up to the ceiling. This diagram defines a defensive cylinder, bounded by palms and legs. The second maps the offensive cylinder, bounded by the ball and elbows. When intersecting, a foul occurs when a player leaves their vertical position, causing contact. Whoever breaks the boundary earns the penalty. By treating players as intersecting volumes, FIBA creates an objective standard. Understanding this geometry allows us to decode their strict categorization of penalties, moving from normal physical play all the way to game ejections. In standard physical gameplay, the most common spatial infraction is the personal foul. The primary offensive breach is charging. This occurs when a player illegally pushes into the established torso space of a defender, breaking their cylinder. Off the ball, this same geometry dictates illegal screening. To set a legal screen, a player must fulfill three absolute criteria upon contact. They must be completely stationary, they must remain inside their own cylinder, and both feet must be planted on the floor. Down in the paint, the principle of verticality governs post-play. Neither an offensive nor a defensive player can use extended shoulders or hips to clear space and push an opponent out of their established vertical position. Personal fouls are standard basketball plays. They are simply moments where a player miscalculated the spatial boundaries and physical timing of their opponent. Sometimes a player's physical action ignores the basketball entirely and disregards the boundaries of normal play. This triggers the flagrant and disruptive foul categories. These infractions penalize contact that is unnecessary, excessively hard, or reckless. A highly scrutinized example is when a defender moves underneath an offensive player already in the air. This specific act is classified as flagrant because it removes the airborne opponent's ability to safely land within their vertical cylinder on the floor. Referees halt the game for these severe infractions using distinct hand signals, like grasping the wrist upward. Flagrant and disruptive fouls mark the boundary where routine spatial disputes end and physical endangerment begins. FIBA's rulebook also strictly polices actions that require zero physical contact and zero cylinder breaches. These are technical fouls. They are strictly behavioral or administrative in nature, divorced from physical gameplay. Category 1 technicals govern direct behavioral violations, like disrespecting officials, baiting opponents, obscuring an opponent's vision, or excessively swinging elbows. A heavily penalized act is faking a foul. By simulating physical contact, a player attempts to manipulate the spatial rules to gain an unearned advantage. Category 2 shifts to purely administrative violations. These are tactics that unnecessarily halt the flow of the game, like deliberately touching the ball after it passes through the basket to delay a throw-in, or hanging on the rim for reasons other than preventing a crash. Technical fouls are designed to protect the integrity, pace, and sportsmanship of the game, rather than the physical safety of the athletes. At the terminal end of FIBA's foul taxonomy is the immediate ejection. Disqualifying fouls are assessed for any flagrant, unsportsmanlike act of violence or fighting. Unlike standard contact fouls, this rule applies broadly to everyone permitted to sit on the team benches, including coaches and staff. This includes the strict bench rule. Merely leaving the physical confines of the team bench area during an altercation is an automatic, non-negotiable disqualification. The disqualifying foul acts as an absolute zero-tolerance fail-safe to instantly remove violence from the environment. While violence triggers an instant ejection, players are far more commonly removed through a rigid mathematical accumulation of the lesser categories. The standard baseline is straightforward. Accumulating 5 normal personal fouls results in a player being excluded for the remainder of the match. This chart visualizes FIBA's game disqualification math. A player is instantly removed for 2 Category 1 technical fouls. The second path is physical. 2 flagrant fouls triggers immediate removal. The final hybrid path, 1 technical plus 1 flagrant, completes the matrix, forcing an ejection. The moment any of these 3 specific mathematical thresholds are met, the official timer raises the GD marker, terminating that player's participation. FIBA's 2026 rulebook operates as a comprehensive logical system. It begins with the geometric mapping of the cylinder on the physical court, and it concludes with a rigid mathematical matrix at the scorer's table, leaving zero ambiguity in protecting both the athletes and the sport.